So I will continue the investigation into information, seeing this in light of everything in general. I understand information as being part of the things which arise and happen in space. Formations in space, structures which go through existence and give existence a certain kind of quality. So we as human beings are adventurers who travel through all of this and experience it in our own ways. And the way that we're using information when we're living through the space is a way for us to behave and act when moving through this. So anytime information has any relevance, it is a part of a behavior, some kind of an activity or action which takes place, and its meaning is found in that entire scenario where it participates. So this asks the question of what could be what could be a path that one would want to take through this space of action And also, of course, including what would be a way to have information playing its part. The entire human life can be seen as one dance within a whole room of events which play themselves out, always relationally. At the moment, there's a number of billions of people on the planet who are living and who are coordinated in some kind of way. We can say that one vision which would be lovely is if it can be coordinated as well as possible for all of them. So that is a practical question that has to do with positioning and existence and everything else. It's a funny thing, whenever I look into any sort of key word and I try to find its ultimate meaning, it's always to be found together with everything else and in its unique interrelationship with everything else. And this is the point which all of the different words keep coming back to. And and that's also why I keep coming back to it time and time again. On a miniature level, a given person can try to live harmoniously with a relatively equally distributed attention between the many different parts of one's whole organization. And one can also try to find the best ways of getting along with other people around. And if a person can succeed in having a healthy, harmonious lifestyle and great communications with people around, great relationships, interactions, then this is a direction that one wants to pursue. this is a common direction of interest for all people, with all of their temperaments and their styles and their various qualities and preferences. But if they can find a kind of harmony in how they live and how they live with the ones around them, then this is a goal. This is a vision. This is something to aim for. And then when you get there, the aim will be to continue being there and be there as much as possible, and with an even greater presence, a greater quality of presence. And then all of the psychological and personal and experience-based things come into play. They all play together at that point. So a very useful direction to pursue seems to be this direction of harmony. A kind of harmony between the many parts. And here, of course, we can see this inside the human body, between the arms and the legs and the head and the breathing and the talking and the moving around, that all of the movements together make up something that works together as a unity. And in a similar way, all of the different activities of the single people, human beings, in larger groups, when they are working together harmoniously, then they create a kind of value which is more than the sum of the parts. So they create something that can be beneficial for everyone, and which uses resources with incredible efficiency. It is an example of intelligent life. A life where self-interests and community standards and personal conscience all are integrated very well, where the many different areas of interests are being combined very well, where the interests of different people are also combined well, and with a strong emphasis on the key interests of their life, which is most important to them. The kind of interests which, at the end of a life, when you look back, you would wish that had been fulfilled. That had been up to at least a decent standard. And you can say that you did your best according to what was possible. So in a way, therefore, everything that I'm talking about here is also an investigation into the question of how can we do our best with what we are, and with how things are. And as mentioned, every other question of interest which I've looked at, when going deeper into it, it's all related to this one. So if we can have a very powerful emphasis on this one, we will indirectly take care of all the other interests at the same time. So in a way, this is a great simplification of our existence, that we focus all our energy on the very meeting point itself of all the events. We focus our energy on the way it plays itself out. So, in other words, the very action in space, the pattern of the action in space, where also the information is interpreted as patterns of action in space within the greater pattern of action in space, and where the goal is to find a pattern of action in space for me and for you and for the others who are interacting, and somehow move into a pattern of action in space which works well for everyone. So if we could do that, then we would take care of everything else at the same time. Because all our interests are directly a part of the action which takes place in space, in the very meeting point of all events, in the here and now, in the place where we are, in the empirical world, in the situation. This is where every interest meets. So then the wish is to find a way for us to relate all our information into such a way of being in physical space which is as harmonious as possible, taking everything into account.